England's Torvill and Dean hold court in Great Britain.
It's great to be here performing in front of sort of a home crowd.
They'll compete against some of the world's best as we return to London for the NutraSweet World Challenge of Champions.
Dancing competition, which is already underway with the performance of Susanna Racamo and Petri Coco. Joining me, two-time world and three-time U.S. champion Tim Wood. And Tim, the popularity of ice dancing has grown tremendously in recent years, and some would argue that this is the most artistic and perhaps the most beautiful of all the disciplines.
Yes, Terry, thanks. In terms of skating movement, ice dancing has emerged as the driving force and direction of the sport of figure skating. Much like an artist who paints with a palette of many colors, dancers define with positional line, shade with edge control, and color through speed and flow. It's inventive, never predictable, forever memorable. The images they create linger in our minds, they speak to our hearts, and illuminate and nourish our souls.
And Tim, with that in mind, we welcome in the third member of our team, Olympic and world champion Peggy Fleming. And Peggy, of all the great ice dancing teams in history, there is one that has influenced almost all of those who have followed. We have a chance to watch them today, the legendary Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean.
Well, Terry, Torvill and Dean set the standard in the 1980s by pushing ice dance rules to their limit. They were the first to show creativity in both musical selection and choreography, and they were the first to approach this sport on an emotional level. Theatrical ice dance has become the norm, as have many of the unusual steps and edges created by Christopher Dean. His choreographic influence can be seen everywhere in the sport of ice dancing.
Torvill and Dean at home in London a little bit later on, but when we come back, the two-time Olympic medalists, Maya Usova and Alexander Zulin.
London is a little bit of all right, nobody can deny that. What shallots in the palace yard to root the colour and change the guard, but don't forget your brolly and your left-hand. I'd like to mention London is a place where you can call right round and have a cozy cup of tea. So if you're fair mind up and got your tail right down, then London town is a wonderful place to be.
The experience that is London would not be complete, of course, without taking part in the traditional high tea. In this tea party, hosted by a couple who should know a thing or two about British culture, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. Christopher explaining the finer points to his most enthusiastic pupil, Alexander Zulin.
I love it. I love English tea. I love scones. I love everything. Sugar, sandwiches. It's perfect tradition.
I say the fun was intense. We all had to do what the people we knew might be doing 100 years hence.
That was the great thing on
the Torvill and Dean Tea Party, a smashing success lasting late into the afternoon hours and only possible through the love of tea by the host, Christopher Dean.
Actually, can I have a coffee? I don't drink tea.
Is this afternoon tea? No,
I know, but it'll look similar colour.
Following the coffee party, Torvill and Dean on the ice and about to experience a professional first.
It's the first time, I believe, they've had a professional event in England. And so it's great to be here performing in front of sort of a home crowd.
Does it put a little extra pressure on you too as well?
I think whenever we skate, we put that pressure on ourselves, wherever it may be, whether it's in London or America. But being in front of a home audience, I think it will actually be quite a nice feeling because I think we get a lot of support here.
They have long been the pride of Great Britain, and after touring for the past 12 years, are now very selective about the events in which they skate. Their inventiveness and willingness to explore new territory has and continues to revolutionize their sport. Theirs has been a career not unlike the unfolding of a great novel.
We start with a blank piece of ice. The writer will start with a blank page. We start with a blank sheet of ice, and we go from there. And the limitations are whatever our bodies are or our minds are.
Control over their minds and bodies is at the root of their success, and it's evident in their every movement. Their commitment to the theatrical and technically difficult choreography sets them apart from all other ice dancing teams.
Whatever piece we're doing, you have to commit to it and become that person or those characters you're trying to portray, all the feeling and emotion. So the minute you step on the ice, you have to take on that role. I think it's more of a commitment than a competitiveness. If it is competitive, it's against ourselves really to, you know, do it even better.